Through the dark forest I clambered, trying to find my destination. All was dark. I could feel the presence of the forest, but I could not fully sense it. I couldn't see the trees. I couldn't smell the air. I couldn't hear the breeze flowing through the leaves. I couldn't even remember where I had come from, or where I was going to. However, my journey was enriched when a figure appeared to me in a bright flash of light. This mysterious being was glowing too brightly to see, but I could tell that this person had 6 arms. I pushed aside the collection of leaf-saturated branches to reveal a green clearing in front of me. The golden rays of sunlight were peeking through small gaps in the lively tree limbs above, forming scattered puddles of warmth across the grassy forest floor. As beautiful as this sight was, it was not as beautiful as the girl who was standing among the natural scenery. The girl had messy brown hair that was almost in her face. Her eyes were green, her skin bright enough to reflect the sunlight. She was wearing a loose-fitting green shirt with flared sleeves, a pair of bell-bottom vertical green-striped trousers, brown shoes that were slightly tattered, and a black miniskirt over her trousers. On the miniskirt was a symbol that resembled a praying mantis. At first I thought that this girl was the 6-armed person that I saw before. However, the lady standing in front of me only had 2 arms. When the girl turned to look at me, she had a smile on her face, but the smile had meaning behind it. It was the look of a person who had left all of her burdens behind centuries ago. It may seem as though a person cannot live for centuries, but perhaps if they have no burdens, they can live forever. "Welcome to the garden," the girl spoke quietly. "Garden?" I asked. "What do you grow here?" "Peace is grown here," the girl replied as she approached me and extended her hand. "My name is Aki." "I'm Denver," I replied, shaking her hand. The hand was soft, almost non-existent. However, its presence was strong, emitting an aura much larger than the hand itself. "So, what brings you to the garden?" Aki asked. I honestly don't know. I searched deeply for an answer. I feel like I was trying to escape from something. "Come, walk with me." Aki began to walk away as her green eyes gently grasped my conscience. "We can escape together." I walked with her through the dense forest, observing my surroundings with all senses. The air was fresh, almost otherworldly compared to the air everywhere else. No nitrogen, no pollutants, not even any oxygen. The air was... Never before had I seen such greenery or sunlight. The plants breathed the same purity that I breathed, and appeared just as lively because of it. Every second spent in this garden gave life. The sun was the supreme giver, offering its presence through the leaves. I eagerly awaited to see what the sun looked like, even if I could only take a small glance. I could hear the wind kiss the trees, and I could feel the breeze nudge my arms. No cars could be heard anywhere around, not even in the distance. It's the middle of the day, isn't it? Shouldn't people be commuting en masse to their... "What do you like to do here, in the garden?" I asked Aki, trying to make conversation. "I exist here," Aki replied. "Oh," I took the comment as sarcasm. "Do you find it boring here?" "Existing isn't boring," Aki turned to me with a smile, perhaps finding my question amusing. "Most people consider existing to be a boring thing, as they only subconsciously exist. However, I consciously exist." Aki turned her attention to something else. "Here, it's just what I was wanting to show you. Look at this." Aki led me around a corner, where we found an exit to the wooded area. When we left the forest, I discovered that we were on top of a tall, grassy mountain. It must have been miles to the deep, verdant valley below that stretched far away to a collection of rolling, towering, tree-coated mountains that were still somehow shorter than the peak that we were standing on. The sky was mostly clear. You could count on one hand how many clouds were in the sky, but each cloud appeared muscular. The clouds could have taken years to move an inch, but I could see their gentle progression displayed in the shadows that they cast onto the valleys and heights of the sunlit mountain range ahead. I fulfilled my promise of glancing at the sun. and discovered that the sun emitted a pulse. I couldn't tell which sense I was using to observe the energy, though. All I knew was that the sun's rays spread outward in gradual bursts, flowing across the sky and touching the ground as waves travel across the ocean and massage the beach. "It took my breath the first time I saw it as well," Aki commented, as she turned her peaceful gaze to the mountains ahead of us. "It still does." She then turned back to me with an excited expression and said, "Now, let me show you how to consciously exist. Let's sit down." I sat down with Aki, noticing that the grass seemed to bow down upon contact, just as humans bow down to their rulers and gods. "Let's stay quiet for a few minutes," Aki spoke almost with a whisper, "and we will uncover secrets previously thought to be hidden far away. However, these secrets have always been so close to us that they might as well be us. Now, let's listen." I was silent, and I listened closely. There was not a sound to be heard for miles and miles and miles. The silence was soon interrupted, however, by the wind running its gentle fingers through the hair of the third farthest mountain from us. Mimicking the wind's sound was Aki, taking a slow, deep breath. "Do you hear that?" Aki spoke gently to ease me out of the silence. I heard the wind moving. I tried to speak as softly as Aki. I could tell exactly which mountain it glided across. "I'm sure you could hear the wind," Aki replied, "but the wind is only a small component of what you actually heard. The sound that you heard was the universe. From this garden, the universe is created." I stayed silent after Aki spoke, as I was instantly enlightened by her words. I could hear the creation of the universe as well. I could hear the production of existence from the silence of the garden. Silence is only a word. From this essence, everything is born. "Would you like to explore the garden some more with me?" Aki asked as she stood up. "It's as infinite as the existence it produces." "I'd love to explore the garden more," I replied, looking to Aki at first and then being silenced by the image of the mountains again. "We can get a bird's eye view of the mountains if you like," Aki suggested as I began to hear a low hum coming from nearby. Or should I say, a dauber's eye view. At that moment, a pair of giant, iridescent blue daubers flew down from the sky, producing an extremely quiet buzzing sound for creatures of their size. When they landed, Aki approached one of them and stroked one of its front legs gently. "These are daubers," Aki said as she looked into the bug's eyes with admiration. "They make for perfect flying rides." "What do they eat?" I approached one of the daubers with fear. "The same thing that all of the animals, trees, and other life forms in this garden eat. Negative energy," Aki replied. "They consume negative energy and produce positive energy. Thus, peace is grown in the garden." A delicate breeze lifted Aki onto the thorax of the dauber. "Don't worry, they're safe to ride." I summoned the same breeze to lift myself onto my dauber. After mounting the bug, I commented, "I don't know what journey I was on before I arrived here, but whatever the journey was, this is my destination." "There's no such thing as a destination." Aki looked ahead. "Every destination is the beginning of a new journey." The bugs flapped their wings to emit the low hum again, gradually lifting off of the ground. After that, we took off to fly across the mountain range and explore the ends of the beginnings of existence. That was an audiobook by Justin Ian Miller. Me, in other words. It's not like stuff I usually do. Stuff I usually do is really crazy and full of explosions and kung fu and pizza and robots, but this is more of a meditative story, and I hope that it was able to relax you today. So I'll see you next time with another audiobook. We may go quite crazy with the next one. So get excited for that. her green eyes gently grasped my conscience. I can't pronounce that word. Grasped. Grasped. Yo, Adrian.